Hey and welcome to the Daily Arsenal News Show. Let's begin with our daily news. £27 million Arsenal man believes he can be the best player in the world in his position one day. Arsenal's 22-year-old William Saliba believes he has the quality to become the best defender in the world one day. That's via an interview with the Daily Mail when the defender said he will give it everything to reach those levels one day. Saliba, when asked if he has the ability to become the best in the world, said, "Of course, I have the quality, but that means nothing. You have to work hard to go to this level, so I'm not close to this level, but I will give everything to maybe one day become the best defender in the world." The £27 million Frenchman had an excellent debut season at the Emirates last year after several years out on loan, playing the majority of his games alongside Gabriel Magalhaes. The two formed a formidable partnership in Arsenal's title charge. Had Saliba not been injured late in the season, Arsenal may be going into this new season as title holders. The France international's absence derailed Arsenal's title hopes, and Arteta has already looked to address that this summer. Jurrien Timber has arrived at the club for a fee of £34 million and gives Arsenal's boss much more depth across the backline. And whilst Timber might be earmarked for a role at right back, he has played centrally for the majority of his career. For a time, Arsenal fans were worried that they may not see William Saliba in an Arsenal shirt. Following his transfer in 2019, the defender had three different loan spells back in France. He initially went on loan to Saint-Étienne and then had two spells at Nice and Marseille. However, at the start of last season, Arteta believed Saliba was ready to start his Arsenal career. Such was his success. The Frenchman was handed a new contract this month, running until 2027. Arsenal fans will be very relieved to see the 22-year-old's future being committed to Arsenal, with there being a genuine belief he can become the world's best. Saliba is arguably already playing to a world-class level, and it would be extremely impressive to see him hitting new heights this year. Folarin Balogun now makes honest claim about Mikel Arteta after working with him at Arsenal. After Arsenal smashed 5 past the MLS All-Stars this morning, USA international striker Folarin Balogun delivered his verdict on Mikel Arteta and how he approaches games. The Spaniard has been at the helm at Arsenal for 3.5 years now, and he has completely changed the club, both from the inside as well as from an outsider's point of view. He has made Arsenal one of the best sides in Europe, and Balogun seems really impressed. Arsenal took on Wayne Rooney's MLS All-Stars early this morning, and the Gunners made light work of the best players in the American League. Mikel Arteta wouldn't have been too happy with the way his side started, but there was hardly any threat as the game went on, and the North Londoners were in complete control. Folarin Balogun was brought on as a substitute, and he had a decent game. After full time, he was asked if Arteta took this friendly seriously or if he was just having a bit of fun. The young striker replied, "Deadly serious, I won't even lie. He is relentless, as you have seen. What you see with him is what you get. He is very demanding, and that's a good mentality for us." A team is only as good as its manager, and Mikel Arteta is the reason why Arsenal have been sensational over the last 12 months. The Spaniard took charge of a Gunners side that was down and out back in December 2019. There were players who showed no real passion, and there was hardly any positivity around the club. Arteta took that challenge on, faced immense criticism along the way, and then managed to make the Gunners one of the most exciting teams to watch in the world. Mikel Arteta thinks 24-year-old Arsenal man could let him use a new tactic next season. Mikel Arteta believes 24-year-old Kai Havertz could be deployed as a target man for Arsenal next season. That's according to an interview with Arsenal's Spanish boss via Football London. Arteta, speaking after Arsenal's 5-0 win against the MLS All-Stars, said Havertz's versatility will be a real asset. Arteta said, "He gives us something different with his quality and his height. For example, where he can be a target man if we need to beat the press. He is playing at the attacking midfield position for now, but I'm sure throughout the season he will be used in different positions." Havertz joined Arsenal from Chelsea earlier in the window for a fee of £65 million. The German backed his first goal for the club in last night's friendly or in the early morning after coming on as a substitute. The 24-year-old stole the ball away from his man at the back post and finished well after receiving a pass from Marquinhos. Havertz will be hoping this is the first of many for Arsenal, who will be back in the Champions League this season. Arteta will also be very pleased to see his new man hitting the ground running in a pre-season. Havertz's move to Arsenal came as a bit of a surprise early in the window. Perhaps even more surprising is the initial position Arteta intends to play his new man in. Havertz has been earmarked for the role that Granit Xhaka vacated after his move to Bayer Leverkusen. The 30-year-old, who departed for £21.5 million, typically played in an advanced role on the left of the midfield three, and it's fair to say he fared a lot better in that position as opposite to a deeper defensive role under Arsene Wenger and Unai Emery. The Swiss international did an important job in establishing the system for Arsenal, and fans will hope Havertz can now thrive in it. Comments about Havertz playing as a striker aren't too surprising. He did it often for Chelsea, but acting as a target man would be a shock. Havertz does have the height, but would perhaps need to improve his hold-up play in the role. Arteta seriously impressed by what Jurrien Timber did in his first minute last night. Mikel Arteta is confident that Jurrien Timber is going to be a really important player for Arsenal after Gunners fans got their first glimpse of the youngster in action for the club in their latest pre-season friendly. Arteta was speaking in comment reported by Football London after Arsenal beat MLS All-Stars 5-0 overnight. Gabriel Jesus and Leandro Trossard scored before the break. Meanwhile, Jorginho, Gabriel Martinelli and Kai Havertz added to the scoring after the break, but there was also a first appearance in an Arsenal shirt for Jurrien Timber. The Dutchman replaced William Saliba with 25 minutes remaining. What was striking was how similar Timber played to the way Zinchenko was used last season. The 22-year-old was often seen in the middle of the park. It certainly highlights exactly why Arsenal brought Timber to the Emirates this summer, and after the game, Arteta issued his verdict on the youngster's display in the emphatic win. He said, "He is a really versatile player. We can use him in different positions within those positions. He gives you the capacity to invert and occupy different spaces. He is so comfortable on the ball in that phase as well. He's got that aggression in the duels and that dynamism which I really like. You saw with his first action, high press, won the ball straight away, won the duel, and was ready to go. He is going to be a really important player for us. Of course, tougher tests lie ahead, but it's always encouraging when fans can see exactly what their manager is trying to do in a preseason, and it's pretty clear what kind of role Timber is expected to have in the coming season. He will give Arsenal the opportunity to play an inverted fullback on both sides of the pitch. Premier League sides have inquired about Arsenal, a player left out of US tour squad. Journalist Bennett Jacobs has suggested that a handful of Premier League sides have made inquiries for Cedric Soares in this window, with Arsenal ready to let the defender leave. Jacobs has taken to Twitter to note that the 31-year-old had also held some initial talks with a number of European clubs, including Villarreal and Benfica. Sporting Lisbon and Porto are also in the mix. It would not be a surprise to see Cedric Soares leave Arsenal this summer. He has previously been a decent signing, capable of providing depth in both fullback positions. However, the Gunners are a very different beast to the one the Portuguese signed for, and he spent the second half of last season on loan with Fulham. Ultimately, that spell proved to be a disappointment, and Arsenal have since added Jurrien Timber to the ranks, so it's hard to see Cedric getting any game time if he sticks around. He was not named in the squad, which has traveled to America for their preseason tour. Interestingly, he may get the chance to move elsewhere in the Premier League this summer. Jacobs has suggested that he does have admirers in England who have made initial moves for the defender. Arsenal are not going to receive a significant fee for Cedric. As Jacobs notes, he has now entered the final year of his deal at the Emirates, and his stock is not that high following his stint at Craven Cottage. However, his departure would be beneficial for Arsenal. It does appear that they are now going to have to clear space on the wage bill if they hope to make further signings. Cedric is unlikely to be one of the highest earners, but if he is not going to play any role this season, then it makes little sense to keep him around. Arsenal aren't actively trying to sell their £45 million player right now. Thomas Partey continues to be linked with a move away from Arsenal, but the Gunners are in no rush to sell the midfielder. That's what James Bange has reported when speaking on Inside Arsenal. The journalist states that Partey is a player that Arsenal will talk about selling if a big money offer came in, but they aren't necessarily pushing him out of the door at this moment in time. By the sounds of it, Arsenal could have their heads turned here, but they don't want to get rid of Partey as a priority in the same way they want to ditch someone like Nicolas Pepe, for instance. Ben shared what he knows about the £45 million man. He said, "Partey, I'm like you. If someone wants to give Arsenal their money back, you can do interesting things then and build. But I have heard the same. Arsenal are not rushing. If you want to offer big money, they will talk, but they are not pushing Partey out of the door." As Benj says, Arsenal could do some very interesting things they'd get from the money from selling Partey, but at the end of the day, he is worth keeping. Let's not forget, Partey was one of the very best midfielders in the Premier League last season, and while Declan Rice has now come in, there is a debate to be had that Partey was better than Rice last term. Of course, at the age of 30, Partey's best days may soon be behind him, and the chance to cash in may be too tempting for the Gunners to turn down. Arsenal can't really lose in this situation. They either get a huge windfall or they get to keep a very talented player in their squad. Arsenal now closing in on signing great 23-year-old Edu is directly in contact over deal. Arsenal are reportedly closing in on signing Brazilian midfielder Bitello, with the sporting director Edu Gaspar in direct contact with the Grêmio over a deal. That's according to Brazilian outlet UOL, which has shared an update on Arsenal's interest in Bitello. The Gunners have enjoyed a brilliant start to the summer window, as they have already moved to bring in Kai Havertz, Jurrien Timber and Declan Rice. Mikel Arteta will be keen to strengthen his squad after missing out on the Premier League title due to a lack of depth last time out. And after Granit Xhaka completed a switch to Germany earlier this month, Arsenal have been heavily linked with a move for Bitello. Indeed, journalist Paul Brown claims the 23-year-old is a player that Edu knows well and labeled him the favourite midfield target for the Gunners. Now reports from Brazil claim the Arsenal transfer guru is already in contact with the Grêmio over a possible move. UOL reports that Edu is in direct contact with the Grêmio as he bids to close a deal for Bitello. It's noted that a journalist from London has confirmed that Arsenal are indeed interested in the midfielder. The outlet describes Bitello as a great player in terms of his technical ability and that he would be able to play in any European country. Bitello is yet to be capped for Brazil but has excelled for Grammy over the past couple of seasons. The talented midfielder registered 7 goals and 3 assists in Brazil's second tier last season, helping Grêmio earn promotion to Serie A. Edu has shown he has a keen eye for unearthing relatively unknown talent, and it's fair to say that Bitello would fall into that category. I will be uploading daily Arsenal news, so keep your eyes on the channel and don't forget to like and subscribe. I appreciate your support. Peace out.